child support attorney, I was able to help people every day in my law practice when they had hit rock bottom. And I started having women come in who were pregnant, being coerced into aborting by their boyfriends, parents, husbands, being told they could force an abortion, force an adoption, block adoption, kick her out, local custody. One of the most common ones is that this abortion money is the last dime they'll get from me. Post-abortion support groups are filled with women who say that they were told the very same thing and that they felt like they had no choice. There's a Dr. Frederica Matthews Green says that a woman chooses an abortion like an animal caught in a trap chooses to chew off its leg. It's not exactly done from a position of choice, but it's an act of desperation where women feel like they have no other choice. Overwhelmingly, most women say that given a different set of circumstances, they want this child. It's not like they don't like babies, but they feel like they don't have any other choice, that they're not being given help. And I like to say that I educate and empower women like a true feminist. I always find it so crazy. Well, first of all, women typically go into crisis pregnancy centers and they say things like, I just can't have this baby right now. They know it's a baby. They don't say, I just can't have this fetus right now. But again, they feel like they have no other choice. And I don't think it's being much of a feminist to say, you're right, you can't. And I'm not going to help you. You couldn't possibly have the character it takes to see this thing through, and they want to hand an abortion on the silver platter, take their money, and then they're not there to help them deal with the awful aftermath. And I find it so ironic and hypocritical that so-called feminists are basically the first to argue that women are weak, pathetic, and can't handle very much. Because they sit there and say, oh, how can you expect a woman to have to be forced to carry a baby that she doesn't want? How could she handle that? Don't you know how emotionally difficult that is for a woman? Like, wow, whatever happened to I am woman, hear me roar, I can do anything. And another thing is that they talk about pregnancy as if it's some bizarre form of alien torture, and have the normal means by which every human being has arrived on this planet. I mean, Planned Parenthood on the website, they say that pregnancy, when a woman's diagnosed with pregnancy, it has been some evil disease, and not how we all arrived here. And it's just total manipulation. It's just bizarre. And so I'm gladly representing these women for free, and I've been sparing the life of that child. And I have numerous photos of babies with tear-jerking thank you letters from their mothers that I helped save from abortion in my law practice. I had a plaque up in my office that said, 100 years from now, it will not matter what kind of house I live in, what kind of car I drove, or what my bank account was. But the world will be a different place because I was important in the life of a child. And I'm really trying to take that to heart in my law practice. I realized that this information I had as a family law attorney was really life-giving information. So I began doing workshops for crisis pregnancy centers across Michigan on an abortion-minded client's life-giving legal options. And I thought, wow, this is so cool. I can't believe I get to do this kind of work. I never knew that becoming a family law attorney, I get to do this kind of work. And then I had 4 cases that were on the cover of the Detroit Free Press, national, international news within a period of 14 months. They were one-of-a-kind cases in the country and in the world. 2 involved rape and abortion. 1 was the frozen embryo case in Michigan, and 1 was a woman who was sued for non-aborting for breach of contract. Again, the guy who said, this is the last dime you'll ever get from me. She took the money, said, I'll think about it, and she said, I can't do it. He said, I'm going to sue you. And she said, give me money back. He said, too late, I'm going to sue you. When the child was a year old and she had to petition for child support, he counterclaimed for breach of contract, basically arguing that he had already bought that child's life at a discount price. Like he had had a hit on that kid's head. And so I gladly represented her for free. And these cases I can't imagine statistically what it would all be. I mean, the fact that I was conceived and raised in a family who encouraged me to become a lawyer from a young age, the experience with domestic violence to become a family law attorney, and happened to set my practice in this area, and these people happened to call me. But I just know that there was a plan for my life from the time I was conceived, and this was part of it. It was an honor to do that kind of work, but the greatest years of my life have been the last several. Seeing this cycle of dysfunction in and out of my law practice every day, this revolving door, people who would set out wanting a love that would last a lifetime, instead, quite frankly, they were coming to see me. And I had also suffered the consequences of my own life of the poor choices I made in the past. I got to a point where I wanted a love that would last a lifetime. I wanted hope for a future. So I decided I would like kiss one more man in my life. Despite the mistakes of the past, my husband had also been absent since college, and he thought that sounded pretty cool. We had our first kiss in the Grand Canyon. That was spectacular. We knew that meant that we were getting married. My birth mother was included in our wedding invitation, and she was walking the aisle at our wedding as one of the mothers. If you ask her today, she would say that I'm a blessing to her. And I think about how different our society would be if everybody understood that every child was a gift, a blessing, a reward. Then when they hear a situation like mine, instead of saying, oh, how awful, you mean to tell me that it was raped and she was actually forced to carry that child? They could say, wow, that I could see that, they could bring her hope and healing for her future. We now know from all the major research done on this issue that that is true.